Hey guys, Wolfman, Italian barber super knurled handle, stainless steel, Wolfman WR1, and this one is a lower gap than the standard range. I believe it's a 54 gap, and it is just smooth, and I love that I was able to find it in this gap. Taj version of the Semogue Owners Club boar brush, and these are the special grade bristles that they have at Semogue. This is a brush renowned for its big bloom once you get a lot of uses in it. The soap we're going to use today is Lonestar from Noble Otter. Today is day 3 of the Lather games, and yesterday was Barrister and Man Day. Today is Artwork Day. The official title is Art of Shaving. It's kind of a take on the brand name there. I love their artwork. I think it's classy. It's got some modern elements and design, as well as kind of a vintage art piece in the middle of most of their tubs. There are some others that I like, but I'm trying to use a different soap every day, and so from all the I couldn't use some other soaps because I had to put them in certain areas. But I really do enjoy the classy look. Plunder is great from Noble Otter. Love that scent as well. I have Kaboom from them, and big fan. Noble Otter, this Lonestar just smells terrific. I am running a little bit late today. I'll explain why in just a minute. And so I didn't have time to, hey good, he put the notes on the tub here for me. Not for me. Lemon, sage, magnolia, Texas cedar, oak moss, leather, and hay. Nice. All right. We're going to put the Nacet, keep on that guy, so that we can hit 300 at the end of the month. So it looks like 273 we have done. There's the 3, so 274. Now, this is a really smooth shaver. It might not give me a great shave. As these marathon blades get up in age, I often find that I need to migrate to a more efficient razor. So this could be a tuggy one. Here's the Nacet with its 3 dots. I'm going to put the little experiment I'm doing with this Nacet, just for grins, is I am always orienting it the same way. Those dots point toward the handle. I started it a couple years ago, near August, and I just decided, what if I'm going to try to shave with this razor, this blade, the whole month of August, for austere August. And I said, well, what if I added a little extra tweak to it and always kept it on the same side? I wonder if I'll discover anything about shaving or marathoning or anything. So we'll see. All right, water on my face. Here is the tub. I think I've just used this guy one time. I must have bought him used. Shake most of the water out. Let's do a 30-second load. Oh, 15 is right there, so we can easily remember to go to 45. Technically it went to 16, so we'll go to 46. Just moderate pressure. If you're working on your own soap, you don't have to do this thing where I shake out all the water out of mine. Why don't you feel free to load up your brush with a little bit more water. Don't shake all of it out. Just like 1 or 2 shakes. And then you might be able to shortcut yourself to a good lather. All right, well, you can tell by the slickness, the look of this wet early soap on my brush here that We had some, good water in the brush instead of it turning pasty quickly. Rinse off the threading of the tubs. Keep that clean. Make sure it doesn't bind up later on. And we've got the razor in, and you can even see the, if I hold the angle right, in this corner up here. There you go. See that little hump right there? That's where I bent the blade when I dropped it around use 225. I bent it back most of the way. It seems to be shaving okay, so I'm not going to try to bend it anymore. I don't want to take a chance of snapping it or something. 24 hours growth is what we're working with today. And I am chomping at the bit to tell you about a cool video I just finished watching. So let's tell you as I start to work up the lather. Well, as you know, if you're a frequent watcher of my channel, day one, 2 days ago, of the lather games here was to appreciate me. I try to help people on the sub. And it's kind of my nature, and the reason I do these videos. I like giving information out to people. It's just kind of a personality type, Well, they saw my work and my attitude and all that, and so they decided to make Floral Day, because I hate florals. I don't hate them, but just don't like them. Make that, Sugar Daddy Day. Well, it was awesome. I am only halfway through reading the long list of people who made posts. And tonight I came across one from Cosmo. Cosmo Barber is his Reddit username. And I am going to put a link in the description of this video right at the top for you so that you can shoot on over to his video and watch it, because he did a kind of a riff on my style of shaves, and it's so funny. If you don't know my video style, it's not going to be as funny because you won't notice things, but he picks up on a lot of the little sugarisms that I do, and it's I'm not gonna, there's a couple of them that are I laughed and I was gonna demonstrate, but I said, nah, you know what, I want you guys to experience it firsthand. So we've got 2 teaspoons of water in this lather. But he did a great job. He even grew out his goatee to look like my goatee. He wore a pair of glasses that were not quite the right prescription because they looked kind of like mine. And it was awesome. He took on a whole lot of my little quirks and things like that. He measured how much water he was putting in. It was great. It was great. So if you're a frequent viewer of my stuff, you'll get a kick out of that too. And he's a great guy anyway. So it was all done in good fun and good humor and mutual respect and that sort of thing. He's a great guy. This lather, man, look at that. That is just a wonderful, beautiful looking lather. I mean, it doesn't have to be good looking to work well, but this one just is. That's 4 teaspoons in there now. We're probably getting close to the stopping point of adding water. Haven't had too many uses on this Taj SOC brush, so I was interested in putting another one on. He called himself Sugar Cosmo. It was great. even I think he likes to have his hairstyle is more of a curly, you know, kind of look to it, but he kind of combed his back in the standard boring guy design that I usually have just for the video. So that's pretty great. Well, the 30 seconds has given us plenty of lather. Let's do the lift up, where we kind of lift half of it up and watch the peak. And yep, look at that nice collapse. Why don't we just go ahead and roll with this? It's really kind of late. Let's just get her done. Water again on my face. And because I remark about my water hardness, I try to on every video just to let you know that sometimes that's an issue with people. He measured. He bought some test strips, or had some test strips on hand, and measured his own water hardness, and it was actually pretty hard. So he learned a little bit. I need to find myself my own test kit so I can see. Now, since this brush hasn't had a whole lot of uses on it, maybe just 8 or something like that, I am feeling a good bit of the backbone. You know, it doesn't have a whole lot of splay yet. The tips are nice and soft. It's definitely not pokey or scratchy or anything like that. Just kind of a massage feeling right now. Go back and get a little bit more. There were a couple of points in the video that Cosmo did that I've got a sense of humor about me, and I don't often find a lot of stuff funny, like the Three Stooges and stuff like that. That's just, you know, that kind of slapstick stuff is not really my style of humor. I need stuff a little bit more advanced and clever and all that stuff to really enjoy the humor of something usually. And he struck me a couple of times with his imitations and things like that. I just got a good laugh out of that. I rarely laugh at stuff. Man, this is such a good soap base. The creamy nature of this soap is wonderful. Feels great on the face. Take away the non-shaveable area. Lather there. All right. I bet this is going to be a rough shave because it's such a smooth, mild razor. Just see how it ends up here. You never know. Because this razor does clamp down on the blade really close to the edge. So you're getting a good, stable, consistent shave. It's doing really well. And so, let's talk about grain today. The grain refers to the way your hairs are pointing, your stubble, because they don't just grow straight out, and I'm sure most of you know that, but just in case there's a new fellow watching, your hairs, most of the time, guys find that their stubble on their cheeks is kind of standard. Many guys, it grows straight down. There's a few guys where their cheeks might grow from the nose toward kind of the ears, or, you know, something like that. And so it's, I think sometimes it can be just a little confusing, because with a lot of people, north and south means with the grain when you're talking about your cheeks.
but just know that it doesn't necessarily mean that. Some people,
north-south on their cheeks is a side or a cross-grain pattern. If they're the kind of person where their beard grows back that way on their cheeks. I love the grip of this Italian barber handle. Definitely not going to have a problem dropping it. Let's do a little half rinse here. And we continue on. Get some more lather. Man, this smells good. So as we use boar brushes, we are waiting. We're wanting their tips to split. They will actually, in the drying process, in the using them, the tips will actually split. And you want that because it makes them softer. We also want the bloom, the way the bristles point up and stuff, we want that to open up. If it stays too closed, then it doesn't hold lather quite as well. And it's a little more firm on your face. Now, you know, some people may like that. I know there's some Omega brushes that have a real tendency not to bloom very much. So they keep kind of narrow focused bristles. So about the grain, the hair growth, the neck area is where a lot of guys will experience some twisty, turny, sometimes swirls and black hole, you know, whirlpool looking patterns. That's normal for some guys, and that's okay. Sometimes it's tricky to learn which directions you'll need to shave to, you know, address those areas without giving yourself razor burn or irritation. My neck area here is like this. Here it comes down and then it starts to turn, and it's a sideways pattern here, and then it turns down a little bit and then goes out the side, the bottom like that. Over here, pretty much straight down. It goes forward just a little bit and then twists back to kind of merge with the growth over here, you know, the direction. It goes forward a little bit and then back that way. And then there's some weird stuff over here. But right here, because of the way it kind of turns and stuff, and there's, you know, I've got my Adam's apple here, but there's not really much here. And so that's why that's my trouble spot. That's where the hair is hardest to get for me. Just little half rinses. You can pick what you want to do. You don't have to do rinses at all between passes, or you may want to do a full rinse. Whatever you feel like, you know, works best for you. If your skin's kind of feeling pasty and dry, maybe your lather's a little too dry, then maybe you want to do more of a rinse. Kind of help your skin bounce back. Third pass now. So then on your neck, you want to pay attention to that grain. Unless you just have really tough skin, in which case you can shave however you want. But a lot of guys will get irritation if they shave in the wrong direction too early on their neck. And so then it pays to know that the kind of the map of your growth so that you can follow it. So against the grain, for my cheeks was kind of an upward direction. If I was one of those guys where it grew from my goatee back toward my ear, then it, with the grain is from my goatee back to my ear. Against the grain is from my ear to my goatee. Cross grain is either this way or coming from the top that way. I like the scent here. The strength, it is very available to me as I'm around in the shave. It's not hiding. It's not super strong though. It's a smooth scent. There's nothing punchy to it. Let's look and see which of these notes are jumping out at me here. See, I'm so glad that even though the lemon is mentioned first, to my nose, it is not a forward part of the accord. I don't even know really that I smell it very much. I smell a little bit of the sage. I'm also happy that that is a little bit muted. He can be a supporting ingredient, that's for sure, but I don't like him to be strong myself. Magnolia, Texas cedar. Do we smell some? Yeah, I smell a hint of woodiness, but I probably wouldn't be able to name it if you were just to give this to me and say what's in it. Magnolia. Yeah. Again, I'm not as good as identifying some of the florals, but we do have a magnolia tree near our yard, and I can, if you tell me it's in there, I can pick it out. But it's really neat. It's playing with a lot of these other supporting notes in a mild kind of way, but then and so maybe if you could picture a line graph or something, the soap doesn't have a lot of sharp peaks. You know, it's kind of a smooth scent where things aren't clashing and things like that. But then that line is raised up a little bit to give you a little bit of strength so that you can really enjoy it without having to try to seek it out and I'll only find it in the tub. And then oak moss. I'm not a good identifier of oak moss, so we'll skip that one. Leather. Yeah, that leather and magnolia so far might be the two main focus notes from here. Hay's the last one. Maybe I'm getting a little bit of hay. That one's hard to say. Hay is hard to say. All right, now a side effect of taking the time to show you that was to take the time to look at the lather. It's holding up, doing well, still slick, so very good. I think that I really kind of nailed the lather here in terms of water consistency, at least for my own preferences. I like it really wet, but it's still got a creamy nature to it. It's not so wet that it's not creamy. I'm getting nice glide protection. I can feel that. Now, since this is the third pass, I told you that this growth comes down this way, goes forward just a touch, and then goes back that way. Then that means that this area white that you can see is growing kind of in this direction down here. And so I could cross grain it by doing this, or you've probably seen me during most of my shaves for the first two passes doing this. Sometimes I'll tilt the razor a little bit. Well, on the last pass, I try to remember to switch it around instead of coming from up here to do that same cross grain, but coming from the bottom in a diagonal way here. I'm feeling really good. I'm not encountering a lot of resistance there from like stubble and stuff that's threatening to cause irritation. Very good. I'm really pleased. Now, here's the thing. I have had plenty of razors that are mild take on the Nacet at this age. I ran through a lot of them, and what happened was I got a comfy shave, but it wasn't all that close. So let's find out how this one did. Full rinse. Wow. I totally expected, upon close inspection of my little troll spot here, to see a good bit of length in the tips because it didn't cut very well, but it really did. Just several hairs have a little bit of length to them, but I expected way more too. So that's a nice close cut that felt great. See, this is why you don't throw away a razor blade. Why throw it away a razor blade when it's still giving you close and comfortable cuts. Really interesting. I'm learning a lot in this adventure. Sure, they're cheap. Why not use them just a few times and then throw them away? You do you. That's what you want to do. And sometimes I do that too with other razor blades. And for sure, I'm not, the next Nacet I use, I'm not going to take to extreme levels like this. Use it maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 times, then throw it away. Start again. You know, if I want to use my mild razors a lot, I'm more likely to throw it away after 20 uses, 30 uses, because that's when the mild razors start to kind of bark at me a little bit. All right, we have this nice, spicy, slightly warm cord here going on. Let me look and see what we have for post shave. All right, the minute I said kind of spicy, probably not spicy. Probably not is not the right word for this, because there's sort of smoothness to it. Slightly warm, yes, and so I'm guessing it's the cedar. The leather, yeah. That's kind of making up that note. I think this number 63 from Provence is going to be a good match. Compliment. A good compliment. Put a few drops of water on my fingers there so that it makes spreading this. And I love the scent of this. The soap here, the Provence number 63, is this nice, warm, spicy scent. It is not a super high performance. It doesn't give you a super creamy lather like this one does, but it costs a lot less. It's a quad milled soap. It's a vegan soap, and it's still very slick. Give you a great shave. And the smell is tremendous, and it'll probably last you over a year for 15 bucks. I think that's really pretty cool. All right. Oh yeah, the smell. That is working nicely. That is working really nicely with the Lonestar. That was a good guess. All right, let's take a look at our lather. Our brush. And look at this. See, there was a little bit extra water in there that I didn't quite manage to integrate into the lather. I don't have tons of lather. I've got a little bit more than this. And like so many soaps that we've looked at, just in terms of spreading it around like this, it's got a very nice luxury feel. And the slickness, the contact slickness here, there's a little bit of cushion, resistance as we're squeezing here. Sometimes that can contribute to a nice luxury feel. It's a light, soapy kind of slickness. It's not thick and buttery. It's not really oily. It's kind of a thin kind of slickness with this mix I have here. I'm sure you could thicken up the viscosity by adding a little bit less water next time if you wanted to, you know, change it up a little bit, have a different kind of slickness. Now, can I pull a lot of this up here to the front so that we could kind of pull it apart and just see how the tips go? Yeah, see, it's holding up its own weight pretty well there. But I wouldn't put any more water into this guy. I think he's great just the way he is. You could if you wanted to. All right, so we used 4 teaspoons plus a little bit of water, plus another half, so 4.5 teaspoons of water, and that made me 3 passes. And I'm going to guess we had a easy 2 passes left over in the bowl, so I think that's a nice bit of margin, maybe 3 passes. So I could reduce that 30-second load time if I wanted to. And there we go. Shook it out. Just dropped it on the towel back there for a little while. So now he is still a little on the moist side, but there's no standing water in there. He can dry on his base or hanging, doesn't matter. Either way is fine. And so along the tips on the outside, a lot of times that's where you're going to start to see the tips split. Right after you use it, many times the tips are wet, and so they're kind of globbed together. But after it dries, you'll start to see some with your bores after you use them. Nice soft brush, looking forward to that. The wooden handle seems to have a little bit better grip. The Semogue Owners Club with the cherry handle is what I have as well. I like its grip a little better. That one seems to be a little larger, but it does get a lot more slippery when wet, and especially, of course, when wet and soapy. I think the wooden ones offers a little bit warmer of a look because of the wood, but just a little bit extra grip too. All right. So we told you about the load and the water, and I think we're good. I think we're good. I really enjoy this balm, and I'm so surprised that this razor did such a great job. I'm not surprised that it was comfortable, but I am surprised that it was really effective at cutting. Pretty cool. Well, here's a shout out to Cosmo Barber. Thank you for that really cool video that you made. That was awesome. He even did a disclaimer in the front that said, you know, any likeness to a person, real or otherwise, is not intended, you know, intentional, you know, that kind of disclaimer. It was really funny. So that's, you know, hats off. That was very well done. And for everybody else, thanks so much for watching. Day 3 of the Lather games is done, and I had a great time with today's shave. Nice close one. Hope there's been something good in this video for you. You take care. Good night.